What happened is the central bank forced private banks to purchase their securities, particularly what are called international sovereign bonds and Sri Lanka development bonds, both denominated in US dollars. They continued to change the regulation. First they said you can buy, then they said you can't buy, then they said again you can buy, because when they realized that they were in a very tight spot, unable to raise money from outside, they wanted banks to buy these instruments. Now what has happened is, already they were exposed to the government in a big way because they had bought the treasury bills and bonds of the government, that is the rupee denominated debt. Now on top of that, they have a large amount of dollar denominated debt. So the issue therefore is the ability to pay back the debt, so which is emerging very rapidly, and people are now talking about debt restructuring, whether it is going to be a haircut or what's called a reprofiling. So the Fitch report actually talks about a haircut of about 37.5%, which they say is average for the last so many years. And if that happens, then what happens to the investments they have made in the government of Sri Lanka? So that is where the volatility or the risk is for the people who's got money in these banks. I mean, it is a sad state of affairs, but it is the truth. However much the government is trying to show the world and the people here that they have enough and more dollars with them and there is no need to panic, the reality is they were scared even to go to the market to raise the amount they require to repay this debt. That is to roll over the $180 million. In fact, they went only to collect $100 million, not $180 million. Even the $100 million, having kept it open for an entire week, they were only able to raise $34 million. After that, they basically put pressure on the banks to purchase at the average rate that they sold the bonds at the auction. Even then, I don't think they were able to raise about $2 million. So they ended up only with about $36.5 million out of a total commitment of $180 million. So which means about $140 million went out of reserves. And that's the reason why suddenly you saw a huge amount of money that got printed a few days back, because that money was used by the treasury to pay for the dollars they got from the central bank. So this is a short-term, patch solution which will not work. I mean, I really don't care which Rajapaksa is in charge of the economy. This is nothing to do with Rajapaksas. I mean, this has everything to do with understanding economics and being able to assess the risk that we are facing as a nation. I mean, I'm wondering, what's happened to this country? Aren't there people outside of the Rajapaksa family who can actually understand and manage this country's finances? Does it have to be the Rajapaksas? Since 2005, the Rajapaksas have been at the helm of finance, except for a few years in the middle. So if they have done well, we wouldn't be facing this crisis today. So the Rajapaksas en bloc have not been able to deliver. So I don't think there is any magic behind the new Rajapaksa who is coming down from his luxury mansion in Los Angeles to take control and turn this country around. I mean, I have respect for Ranil Wickremesinghe for more than one reason. I mean, he's the man who brought me into politics, and I have no personal animosity against Mr. Wickremesinghe. The issue is a policy matter, and the policy matter obviously has to do with the leadership that he gave us in the UNP. I mean, we were a party, a strong party, the grand old party. You know, from 130 odd MPs, the UNP went down to 0, right? So the issue was about passing the baton. The issue was about bringing in new blood, new leadership, dynamic, management. So it is nothing to do with Mr. Wickremesinghe. He's a smart man. He's a he's a widely read man. He understands economics. It's not about that, right? So going forward, obviously, you know, he has a role to play, and we need to figure out what role he can play. You know, whoever is able to sort of articulate a plan, which we have done, you know, on behalf of the SJB, we clearly said what we plan to do and how we are going to, you know, get this country back on its feet. Everybody, not just Mr. Wickremesinghe, everyone else, you know, who is willing to join our progressive campaign, everyone is welcome to work with us. You know, currently our leader is Mr. Sajith Premadasa. He's the leader of the opposition, he's the leader of the SJB, and we can certainly find ways to collaborate. The solution is twofold. Immediate solution is that we have to go for a debt restructuring program. There's nowhere out of that. In order to do that, we have to go to the IMF to create that platform for us to bring everyone together, because these are hundreds of investors investing in so many series of bonds, right? So it's just not like 2-3 commercial banks. These are investors scattered around the world. And you know, there are things called collective action clauses which need to be put to vote. You need to get 75% of the investors agreeing on a solution. So it is not an easy task to do. So you need to sort of coordinate all that. So IMF is necessary to coordinate all that, and also it is on the back of an IMF program that those investors would also feel comfortable that we will have a credible, sustainable plan for our debt. So unless there is a debt sustainability program in place, you know, we are not going to be able to restructure our debt. So in my view, we can still manage with a reprofiling exercise, meaning that you postpone the interest and the capital, not a haircut, in that you cut the interest payment and the capital due. But if we wait longer, we may have to go for a haircut, which will be ugly and painful to everyone. But in the medium to longer term, what we need to do is to get our country back in the global arena. We are now out of it, right? We are just, you know, we are not part of any grouping. We are not part of the global and regional production networks. So really, the ultimate solution is how we are able to get this country back into these, you know, modern production networks. That's really where we need to go. All I can tell you is the fertilizer gazette is wrong. Right? They'll have to reverse this fertilizer gazette. You will see. They will have to announce it. But it just goes to show how careless, how you know, how little attention has been paid to you know, figuring things out, analysis before decisions are made. These knee-jerk reactions, knee-jerk decisions are bad. And now they realize that gazette that is in existence is wrong. And I'm telling you, you'll see what's going to happen now.